Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ojo Okpara, and my topic for this slide is consistency, cons, and combinations. And the side note is, can consistency drag you down? Over the years, I have been privileged to teach a group of people about the power of focus and the power of consistency. And just recently, when the convener of this event, Mr. Ayokunle, asked me to talk about consistency, I said, okay, what am I going to talk about again? And then on doing my research, I realized that consistency is not always positive, and there are negative sides to consistency, and not many people know about this. So I decided to talk about the negative parts, which are the cons, and then the combinations that one can apply consistency to in their life. So I will start with a short story about the wise reed. You guys might have heard the story before, and this is me paraphrasing the story. This is not exactly how it happened, but this is me paraphrasing the story. So, two trees were standing side by side, a slim reed and a giant oak. The oak tree would always boast about its strength and width of all the branches and stems. The reed, who had nothing to boast of, would always be quiet. One day, a storm came along and it was very fierce. The strong winds blew against the trees. The oak tree stood strong once more, proving its strength. The reed, who was not as strong, simply bowed to let the wind pass. The wind beat against the oak tree until it snapped the whole trunk in half, and that was the end of the oak tree. So, like I said, you probably have heard this story before, and this story is all about, in a way, consistency. The reed, as a plant, can stand straight, but when the storm came, it decided to do what? To bend for the wind to pass over it. But the oak tree stood, said, yes, I am strong. I have been standing all this while. I will keep standing. I will not bend. And what happened? The wind broke the oak tree in half. This is just a little insight into the negative part of consistency. Now let's go to the definitions. What is consistency? Consistency simply means to be consistent. And let's go to being consistent. What does being consistent mean? Being consistent is when you are acting, or when something is done in the same way over time in an effort to be fair or accurate. When something is done in the same way over time, or when you are acting in the same way over time in an effort to be fair or accurate. Now, if Mr. A is a thief, for instance, and he decides to steal every fifth day of the month, he steals 5th of January, he steals 5th, oh, he even steals cars, by the way. He steals on the 5th of January, 5th of February, 5th of March, 5th of June, July. He doesn't miss any month. He steals still 5th of December. Is he consistent? Yes, he's actually a consistent thief. He has stolen in the same way over time in an effort to become accurate. In that sense, accurate meaning better. Because the way he will steal in January will not be the same way he will steal in December. He will be more fearless. He will be more ready to face any attacks, any challenges. He will know how to avoid the police more. He will know which street to follow. He will know how to block the car from being tracked and all those things. So you can see that the word itself, consistency, is not a positive word. It is a neutral word. A neutral word that can be applied negatively or positively. So this means that being consistent is not always good. Now, when consistency is not always good, what can it cause? What can it lead to? What are the downsides of consistency? Number one, inflexibility. When you are not ready to adapt to new things, new environments, or new opportunities, yes, being consistent can cause you to be inflexible. Just like the oak tree in the first story, it refused to bend. Yes, naturally the oak tree cannot bend, but it's just trying to make an analogy for something. We as human beings, sometimes we are so fixed on a particular behavior, we refuse to bend, we refuse to be flexible. What happens? We get cut off. No one is asking you not to be upright. No one is asking you to be clever. No one is asking you to be dubious. But in the world we live in now, there are many changes, many opportunities that are coming. And if you decide to remain in the old way, say, oh, this is how I've been doing it, I am not going to change, I am not going to adapt, it's going to cost you a lot. So that is one downside of consistency, inflexibility. Number two is complacency. When you are just there, you are just stagnant, you don't do more. You feel like everything you have done is everything. That is, you feel like you have done all things, not knowing that there is always more. There is always something new. There's always one more river to cross. There's always one more mountain to climb. There's always one more person to love. Always more money to be made. Always a way to maybe increase in spirituality or whatever. You just say, oh, I've done everything. After all, on Sunday, I go to church. I attend the service for 3 hours and I come back home and I am done. This is how I've been doing it since I was 8 years old, and that's all I will be doing. You don't want to go for what do you call it? For mission. You don't want to join any service unit. You don't want to, join something new, read extra Bible, attend another crusade somewhere. Your own is, as far as on Sunday you wake up, you go to church, stay 3 hours. Any day that the service is more than 3 hours, you walk out, because after all, it's 3 hours you always spend. That is just complacency. You just think that everything you have been doing is all there is, and you don't strive for more. This is what being consistent can cause. The third one is lack of creativity. The same thing. You are doing something from A to B to C, and that's the end. You just stop there. You are doing something from A to B to C, you just stop there. And you think that that's all there is to it. Why not go from A to F to H and come back to B? Right? This is how a lot of people think. They just think in straight lines and they just remain stuck wherever they are. And then fourthly, you have blind conformity. Blind conformity in the sense that you just conform. You don't know how to question things. You don't know how to question people. You just, oh, okay, this is how it has been. This is how it should be. Nothing like, can this be done better? Nothing like, okay, can we reduce so. Nothing like, okay, can this be done in another angle? It's just, this is how it has been. This is how it should be. This is another negative side effect, or let me just say a side effect of consistency. And check it. As a right-handed person, when last did you try to brush with your left hand? Check it. It hardly even occurs to you. You are so used. Yes, they taught you how to brush with your right hand when you were small, and you've been doing it, and now you are 30 years old or you are 55. You brush with your right hand. Does it occur to you to say, oh, let me brush with my left hand today? It doesn't occur to you. As I'm saying it, I'm also guilty of it. It doesn't even occur to me like that. Yeah. So this is exactly how it happens to us in our life. When we are already used to doing something, these other options don't even occur to us. These other angles don't even occur to us to check. That's why we can now be suffering from inflexibility, complacency, lack of creativity, or blind conformity. Now, when do you prioritize consistency? Like I said, it's a neutral word. It's not like positive or negative on its own. It's positive or negative when you apply it to something. So when do you prioritize consistency? Number one, you can prioritize it in safety or critical processes. For example, if you take a flight, the air hostess and the pilots, they often do a series of announcements, which most time it is the same thing. Because when there is something involving life or death, you don't want to get creative with it. You want to follow the exact steps that they are telling you. You don't have room to start thinking of another angle. If they tell you to wear your parachute from left to right, and you want to say, oh no, I'll be creative, let me wear it from up to down, it will not work. You will leave that plane and you might crash. Your parachute may not open. So in safety and critical processes, you should be able to follow rules, instructions, processes, line to line, consistently from A to B to C. Don't look for an extra road. Don't look for an extra angle. Because the difference between life and death in that case is just 0.1. That is very, very small. There is no room for creative thinking in such cases. Second one is quality control. Like the food we eat, like the drinks we drink, the drugs we take, these things are made in a way that they have to be the same way over time. If you want to add 3 cubes of Maggi, maybe 2 spoons of salt, and maybe 1 spoon of crayfish to get a particular taste, you cannot get creative, because if you add 5 cubes of Maggi, it has changed. You get, the taste has changed. That taste is now a different recipe. It's not the same thing as what you wanted to originally create before. And it is very important in quality control that standard must be practiced. That is, the thing you make today, that biscuit you make today, 2025, that biscuit must taste the same way, or must taste in a very similar way come 2050. So there is no room for creative action. You cannot go and add any ingredients you want. Thirdly, financial management. This is another area where you need to prioritize consistency. For example, in something like savings now, you can make a vow to yourself that you always save 20% of any income that comes to you from work, right? If you start saving that 20% when you are making 50K, it will not be difficult for you to save 20% when you start making 5 million. So it's good to apply consistency in financial management. Don't just go outside your limits or your risk appetite. Say, okay, oh, there's this meme. Normally, I used to save 20%, but there's this meme. They said it's going to increase by 1,000%. Let me increase my distance to 50. You will lose that money and you will cry blood. That's just it. So you need to prioritize consistency in your financial management, where you save, where you invest, how much you can save, how much you can invest, what types of stock can you invest in. Is it the ones that their founders are known, or the ones that their founders are not known, so that you can hold them if your money lost? Choose all these things and stick to them when you are trying to manage your finances. Fourthly, you should prioritize consistency in customer expectations. As a brand, as a business, there are certain things that your customer expects from you. It could be product quality, it could be customer service, it could be brand color, it could be brand logo, it could be how do I put this now? It could be the kind of posts you put on your social media. It could be the type of clothes you even wear. There are people who have made a brand out of the kind of clothes they wear. You will see somebody dressing similarly and you say, okay, this person is trying to copy this other guy. You understand? I mean, for example, we all know I rasta for something in this country now. So you should just, if you pick a style, pick maybe a color, pick a food, pick the way you service people. It could even be a refund policy, right? There are people that say, okay, you have 50 years warranty or guarantee. They know this is how this company behaves. The guarantee is 50 years. If they say it's 50, then that means the guarantee is 50. So there's some certain things that you should stick to as a business. You should be consistent in. Not today, you will not wake up and say, okay, today our company logo is blue. Next year you say, oh, our company logo is now purple. Your customer will get tired. So you must be consistent in customer expectations as a business or as a brand. Now check it. Can you get creative while calculating an aeroplane trajectory? No, you cannot. No. Even when you want to solve maths, you must follow formula. If you don't follow formula, you have failed. You will fail. You cannot guess in maths. You must follow formula. Will you allow a doctor to get creative if he was going to operate on your bones? No, you will not. You want him to follow the exact procedure that they have been following before, that have been making operations successful. Because if he decides to make one mistake and drill somewhere he's not supposed to drill, you could end up paralyzed or dead for life. So there are cases where you need consistency, and there are cases where you don't need it like that. Now, what should you be consistent at? This is where it now comes to consistency combinations. This is my personal recommendation. I think it's something I try to practice. You can find your own best combination, but I think this one works for me, and it will work for anybody that decides to use it very well. So the first one is C plus I. That is consistency plus initiative. Initiative, that is showing that you can do what should be done without being told to do it, without being waiting for someone to order you around, without waiting for what I call it, order from above. Should this thing be here? No. Okay. You should be able to tell yourself to move it. Alright? Should this thing be done like this? No. Okay. You should be able to tell yourself to do it the right way without waiting for maybe, I don't know, a bigger person or a bigger position or even a smaller person to tell you what to do. Have an inner director. Direct yourself from inside. Stop waiting for external direction. If you are consistent with taking initiative in anywhere you are, be it your family, your home, your workplace, your business place, your church, anywhere, people will actually see you as someone that can manage things, someone that can even lead. Okay, now the second combination is C plus E, that is consistency plus enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is, for me, I would describe enthusiasm as positive thinking, right? Showing that you have positive thinking. It's not about being happy all the time. It's not about just being in areas where everything is going smoothly or everything is going good. Even in the worst scenarios, even in the worst places, you can still have enthusiasm. There is always a chance that something might get better. There's always a more positive outcome. You are supposed to look out for that positive outcome. For example, if a plane is nosediving, crashing to the ground or to the sea, for instance, depending on what the pilot has said, yes, most people will be wailing, crying to God, crying, shouting and everything, which is human to do. But if you have enthusiasm, yes, you know that okay, the plane is going to crash one day or maybe in a few minutes, you can still just take your time and inform or lecture those who are willing to listen to you on what to do. Maybe they should hold on to their seat so that as they hit the water, they are not thrown off. Maybe they should hold their breath for like 10 minutes so that they don't drown immediately. Just tell them, okay, yes, you people might still die, but if there's a chance that you people are alive, or a chance that we will get out of this alive, this is the way to go. That is the positive thinking. Looking at that extra positive side, no matter how slim it is, you have no idea how very it is to contract bad vibes. I said contract as in an infection, to get infected by despair, depression, doom, bad vibes. And that is what most people naturally gravitate to. But guess what happens if you also come with good vibes, if you come with positive thinking, if you are always just hopeful that something good will happen, people will also gravitate towards you, because human beings like pleasure more than pain. So if you are consistent in showing enthusiasm wherever you are, like I said, family, church, workplace, business, anywhere, everywhere, you will also be put in a position whereby people will want to look up to you, they want to be led by you, they want to follow your orders. Now, have that enthusiasm and initiative. You're going to go very, very, very far. You can imagine all these old movies where all these soldiers are preparing for battle, and then one captain or one king now comes, gingers them. Say, today we fight for our children, we fight for our wife, we fight for our land, this, that. Now say charge. Do not say for Camelot or something, everybody will now charge and start running. That is what enthusiasm can do. That captain has gingered his men to move into a place where they are not even sure they might come out alive from. That is what enthusiasm can do. That is the power of enthusiasm. That's the power of initiative. And if you are consistent at these two things, believe me, you are going to go very, 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 very far in life. Like I said, this is just my personal recommendation. You can find other things that you can be consistent in. So in summary, consistency can have negative sides. It should not be practiced all the time with everything. Then consistency can cause complacency. inflexibility, and blind conformity. And thirdly, you can combine consistency with taking initiative, and you can combine consistency and enthusiasm. Are there any questions? You can send them to maybe my DM or put them in the comment section below. If there are no questions, thank you very much.